1923 Season 2, Episode 5 Review. Spencer is finally close to home, and I absolutely can't wait for the Duttons war to start. 1923 finally allows us to see a light at the end of the tunnel when it comes to Spencer and Alexandra's journeys home. Last week, Episode 4 of the Yellowstone spin-off's second season was mostly focused on the Duttons and how they finally received some much-needed good news. I loved how the show let them have a reprieve, with Zane's surgery being a success, which allowed him to walk again, and how Elizabeth not only decided to stay instead of leaving, but also discovered that she was pregnant again. However, all the happiness at the Dutton Ranch contrasted with Spencer and Alexandra's stories, who found plenty of danger in their respective journeys to Montana. Alexandra was robbed, punched, and almost lost her train. As for Spencer, he had to run from the police to hop on a train of his own. Then he killed the 3 people who wanted to rob him, and worse, and then hopped off the train. Thankfully, Episode 5 takes both of their stories in a better direction. But before it gets there, I was shocked by what Alexandra had to face. From the start of the season, I had a bad feeling in my stomach that something terrible was going to happen to Alexandra. In Season 1, we saw that while she had a hard exterior, if it were not for Spencer, she would not have lasted as long as she did. After all, up to meeting him, she had led a posh life with very few hardships. However, 1923 Season 2 has Alex all alone, and it has led to a few unsavory moments that culminate in what I feared happening. When she first arrived in America, I was afraid she would have to pawn herself off to the officers so they would allow her to get into the country. Thankfully, that did not happen, with Alexandra taking full control of the situation. Then she was followed by a robber into the bathroom at the train station. I was afraid that meant she would not be able to escape the dark fate I imagined for her. However, while she did get robbed and beaten up, Alexandra still managed to move forward. In Episode 5, she does not have the same luck. Alexandra proved her resilience by making a deal to work in exchange for food on the train, doing so without having eaten for days. However, that put her in the path of a man who would sexually assault her. To say I was enraged would be putting it mildly. My fears were unfortunately realized. However, I was happy that the British couple she had made friends with on the train not only vouched for her, but offered her a ride after her train was canceled. Alex is now safe. While Alexandra had to go through major hardships in Episode 5, Spencer's story was quieter. I loved that Jennifer Carpenter's Marshall Fawcett finds Spencer while out looking for Tiana and the people who went after her. The story of Brandon Sklenor's character has always been my favorite part of the series. However, I have wanted to see him finally reach home for some time now, and seeing Spencer no longer isolated in his own bubble was exciting. That said, I was hoping he would team up with her to save Tiana. That might not have been in the cards, but the interactions between the two were cool to watch. Spencer's story also advanced in a big way, because now his family will know just how close he is to home. Fawcett manages to speak to Robert Patrick's Sheriff McDowell, confirming that Spencer is who he claims to be. I was on the edge of my seat watching Spencer speak to McDowell, as it felt like his journey was close to ending, and the Duttons would soon learn their war could begin. This is exciting as it's been building up for a while, and I can't wait to see how it goes. At the end of the episode, Alex is headed to Winnetka, while Spencer leaves Amarillo on a train to Montana. Based on where they are, Spencer is a lot closer to his destination than Alex, though she now has rich friends who could make her journey easier. The other storyline in the episode was about the priest and the marshal chasing Tiana. They find the direction she went in with her dad and Pete, after learning from cowboys who rode with them. The episode ends with Pete and Marshall Kent shooting at each other, and I fear Pete will die, which would certainly add to the drama as the show inches closer to its finale. Episode 5 of 1923 Season 2 was a masterclass in tension, emotion, and long-awaited resolutions. For weeks, we've watched Spencer Dutton fight his way back to Montana, braving the worst the world has to offer. Now he is closer than ever to home, and the anticipation is at a fever pitch. Meanwhile, the Duttons' war is about to erupt, and I absolutely cannot wait to see how it unfolds. Spencer's perilous journey nears its end. Spencer Dutton has been the embodiment of resilience throughout 1923. From his time in Africa to his perilous journey across the ocean, every moment has felt like an uphill battle. Now, as he finally sets foot on American soil, it feels like we are on the cusp of something monumental. One of the most gripping moments in this episode was Spencer's arrival at the East Coast. The contrast between the bustling American city and the vast African wilderness he left behind was striking. The cinematography did a beautiful job of making us feel the overwhelming sense of displacement Spencer must be experiencing. His goal is clear: to return to Montana and take his rightful place in the fight for his family's land. Yet we know nothing is ever easy for a Dutton. The brief but emotional reunion between Spencer and a family acquaintance at the docks was a highlight. He's no longer just a lost soldier. He's a man with a purpose. The way he carries himself now, more hardened yet focused, proves that his harrowing experiences have shaped him into the warrior his family so desperately needs. The Duttons' war is brewing. While Spencer fights to get home, the ranch is on the brink of all-out war. Episode 5 solidified the tensions that have been simmering for weeks. Donald Whitfield, the ruthless businessman hell-bent on claiming the Yellowstone ranch, continues his relentless campaign against Jacob and Kara Dutton. Whitfield's calculated moves and powerful alliances make him one of the most formidable villains in the Yellowstone universe. Jacob Dutton, despite his age and injuries, refuses to back down. His old-school grit and determination make him a compelling leader. The Dutton family has been beaten down, outnumbered, and financially strained, but they are far from defeated. What makes this conflict so exhilarating is the emotional weight behind it. This isn't just about land. It's about legacy, survival, and justice. The interactions between Kara Dutton and Whitfield were particularly intense in this episode. Helen Mirren delivers yet another powerhouse performance, portraying Kara as both fierce and strategic. Her veiled threats, spoken with an air of controlled fury, were a masterclass in dialogue delivery. If anyone can keep the Dutton family afloat until Spencer arrives, it's her. Tiana Rainwater's story gains momentum. Tiana Rainwater's journey has been one of the most heartbreaking yet essential storylines in 1923. Episode 5 gave us a crucial update on her escape from the horrors of the Catholic boarding school. Her reunion with her father and the growing threat from those hunting her added layers of suspense to the episode. What makes Tiana's story so powerful is its historical significance. The brutal reality of Native American children being forcibly removed from their families and stripped of their identities is an important narrative that 1923 has handled with remarkable sensitivity. The fact that her fight is far from over makes her journey all the more compelling. Her father's quiet but firm declaration that they will not run any longer signals a turning point. The Rainwater family, much like the Duttons, is preparing for a battle that could define their future. The parallels between the two families highlight the broader theme of 1923, survival in a rapidly changing world. The episode's best scene. If I had to choose one standout moment in this episode, it would be the final scene. As Spencer boards a train bound for Montana, he catches a glimpse of a newspaper headline detailing the troubles on the Yellowstone ranch. The look in his eyes says it all. rage, urgency, and an unbreakable resolve. The way the show builds suspense around his return is masterful. Every second of Spencer's journey has been fraught with danger, and we know that the moment he steps back onto Dutton land, the war will truly begin. The slow build-up has been frustrating at times, but in the best way possible. When the inevitable clash finally happens, it will be one for the history books. What comes next? With only a few episodes left this season, 1923 is setting the stage for a truly explosive finale. Spencer's arrival in Montana will undoubtedly shake things up, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see a major showdown between him and Whitfield before the season ends.